I was thinking about this. We are the richest country on the planet, one of the richest countries. Why does it look like ass? Like, really think about that for a second. Like, when you're driving, if you're not in like Florida or California or the coast of like Oregon or whatever, it's like, this place looks like shit. And we have so much money. Like, I'm thinking of like Europe and Japan and all of the architecture like across the world and how beautiful it looks. Why don't we have like rose gold fucking buildings, and like, why does the Kmart's and like all of the stores look like shit? Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking in my head, I'm closing my eyes and I can imagine like what a country, like look at China, like Shanghai, like the coast, like all those videos you see, that's like no joke, stunning, beautiful, high tech. You would think America would look like that with the amount of money that we have, but it just looks like, ugh, you know what I mean?
She's right. She's right. She's absolutely right. Like, you need to be here to see what she was saying in that video, right? It's the absolute truth. You know, for the longest part, the Western media had been showcasing America or the Western world as this little perfect place where they have everything, you know, build up, organized, everything is, you know, just perfect, right? Even in Hollywood movies where we see all these fine houses almost looking like futuristic buildings, right? That was what Hollywood was showing to the world, and it's still showing it to the world, right? So if you haven't been to the United States, if you haven't been to Europe and other countries in the Western world, you would think that virtually everything in there, it's great and perfect, well planned out and everything. For someone that had traveled to almost 48 states, I can categorically tell you that I was shook when I went through all those states. And mind you, I didn't just go through the states. I slept in virtually all the 48 states that I've been to, like literally. So I was opportune to travel that. It's a rare privilege, you know, because the person I'm with works for a trucking company. So half of the time we were on the truck exploring virtually everywhere. I wanted to see America for myself, because what Hollywood had been showing for the longest and is still showing, I really needed to see it in person for myself, right? So what that lady said, I mean, there no lies detected, period. Some places that I went in America in those 48 states, I was shocked. I went from to like, I couldn't just believe it. I couldn't be, in short, if I want to do a video on that, it's gonna go to like 10 series of what I've seen. To think that America is one of the wealthiest, if not the most wealthy country in the world. In short, according to Forbes 2024 data, the top countries by number of billionaires, United States has 813 billionaires. China has 406 billionaires. India, 200 billionaires. Germany, 132 billionaires. Russia, 120 billionaires. Italy, 73 billionaires. Brazil, 69 billionaires. Canada, 67 billionaires. Hong Kong, 67 billionaires. United Kingdom, 55 billionaires. So United States makes 2/3 of the world's billionaires. So literally, America has no business looking like a third world country. I was telling people, you know, they were asking me of my experiences of places I've been in the United States. What's my general overview of America? I told them that America is the fancy third world country. Like, you know how Americans and the Western world and some other places usually show Africa as a poor, stricken continent. We live in trees. We do not have nothing. You know, when I was here, even from your people, and I wouldn't even fault your people for their ignorance. Some of your people were asking me, so whenever a popular song comes up or whenever I sing some of your songs, they looked shocked. When they saw my clothing, when they saw my bags and stuff that I brought from my country, they were kind of shocked. They were like, so you mean to tell me you have stuff like that? I was like, guys, the internet is here. You have no business being ignorant. The internet is here. Go look it up for yourselves. The internet is here. Like, why would you ask me such questions? I was like, whatever you have, guys, I don't even know how to quantify. I don't even know how to express what I've seen. Like, apart from the major cities like LA, Los Angeles, New York, New Jersey, Miami, all those big cities where you see the most wonderful infrastructure, but any other place is looking like a dead town. Most of your houses are made of wood. Some are barely standing. You know this AC, the split unit, they're still using the old box-like AC system. When I saw it, I was like, are you serious? You mean you guys are not using the split unit kind of air condition? Some of the roads are bad. And I mean, I was like, this is not the America they showed us on TV. This is not the America. We have better houses than the houses that I've seen in all the almost 48 states that I had been to. I couldn't believe it. You need to be here to see it for yourself, because that was not what the Western media was showing us. It was showing us that all of you are doing great. Just like the lady said, once you go to China are literally living like in the future. Most of their buildings are high-tech buildings. They almost look like futuristic buildings that you see in science fiction movies or futuristic movies. Like China should be the new world, literally. Have you seen some of the pictures? It's crazy. So what she's saying is actually right. You will think that once you come to America, you will see all this great stuff. Oh, don't get me wrong. There are some places, just like I said, the main cities, the mega cities, they are beautiful. They are beautiful. But anything outside the mega cities, once you go through the rural areas, the countrysides, that's when you see that, man, America is a ghetto. I'm sorry to say it. I mean, what she's saying, she's right. There are some places we went, I was like, are you serious? Is this place real? They look abandoned, dilapidated. The structures are barely holding on. And you have this number of billionaires in your country. And you pay the most tax than any country in the world. At least one of the countries in the world. I feel Americans should have a better life, being that you fed into the system, you've put into the system, Americans should be having better. I mean, you shouldn't fight to have basic health.
I can't live like this anymore. Nobody cares about you unless you're dead or dying.
When I was 21, I sustained a back injury that left me paralyzed with pain. The slightest movement would send excruciating pain down my back, through my buttocks, and all the way down to my leg. I wasn't able to put any weight on this leg. I literally had to be carried from my bed to the toilet, and I needed assistance in the toilet at the age of 21. And of course, like most Americans, I didn't have health insurance at the time, so I couldn't afford proper medical care. I went to the local family doctor, and he did an x-ray, and he's like, oh, well, you're young and healthy. This is probably just an inflamed muscle. You'll be all right in a few days. Fast forward 6 months, I'm still in this excruciating pain, unable to walk. My entire life shut down. I quit my job because I couldn't work. I dropped out of college because I couldn't attend classes, and I was isolated from all my friends because I literally couldn't go out. When we eventually realized that this was a serious medical condition that wasn't going to go away with rest, we collected money to pay for steroid injections to reduce the inflammation on my buttocks, where I felt most of the pain. And these injections were $500 a piece, and I needed 3 injections. Now I can walk, but I'm limping because I still have pain. So we decided to do physical therapy. Went to a physical therapist and found out that it was going to be $100 a session out of pocket. I was like, there's no fucking way I can afford this. She recommended me to go to a chiropractor, which was $25 a session. I was like, fine, we can afford this. I saw this man for an entire year. For an entire year, he kept doing these stretches on me, kept fixing my back, and every other week I would still be limping into his office. It took him a year to be like, hey, you know what? I can't fix you. You need to go see a surgeon. You need to see an orthopedic surgeon to find out what's going on. I think you might have a serious back condition. I go to an orthopedic surgeon. He tells me I need an MRI. I tell him, hey, I don't have insurance. How much is this going to cost me? He's like, oh, $1,200. I'm like, hey, I can't afford that. Can I go get an MRI from somewhere else? Can you write me a note? I'll go get an MRI and I'll bring it to you. He writes me a note. I pay $600 out of pocket to get an MRI. And finally, it's been 2 years at this point. 2 years after my injury, we finally find out that I have a herniated disc, which is putting pressure on my nerves. It's putting pressure on my spine, which is causing inflammation in my spine and causing inflammation through all the muscles throughout that nerve that runs down my right leg. So the surgeon tells me the only way to correct this problem is that I need to get a surgery done, which is called a microdiscectomy. Basically, they shave off a portion of the disc, which is putting pressure on my spinal cord. And this surgery costs close to $35,000 out of pocket. I tell him, hey, I don't have this money. What can I do? And he's like, well, you need to get insurance. And this is before Obamacare. So my only option was to get a job and work with excruciating back pain. And I'm like 23 at this time, almost 24. And the only jobs I can get without any work history or without a degree from a university is retail jobs. So I spent the next 6 months of my life standing, folding fucking clothes at Express and JCPenney so that I could get insurance so that I could pay for my surgery. Whilst I'm waiting to collect the money to afford my surgery, my doctor is prescribing me powerful painkillers. I'm talking Vicodin, oxycodone, Valium to help with my pain. These are highly addictive medications. They're made from heroin, basically, the same poppy plant. He was prescribing them to me like candy. I would run out. He wouldn't ask another question. I would go in for my weekly or monthly visit. He would just write me another prescription. He's prescribing a child Vicodin. And of course, I got addicted. I got addicted to these pills. I found myself popping these pills in moments where I didn't have the pain. I just took it because I had the fucking craving for it like a cigarette. When I finally, first of all, become eligible for my health insurance, because it doesn't kick in right away, after months of working and collecting money, not spending money on anything else, literally just saving money for my surgery, I gather the $6,000 surgery copay that I need to get this surgery done. I get my surgery scheduled and I go to my boss and I tell her, hey, I need a month off of work because I'm getting a major back surgery done. She tells me the best I can do is 7 days, which is 5 days that I normally am scheduled to work, plus the 2 additional days off the week that I get. So the best she can do is 1 week. And I shit you not, 1 week after my surgery, I'm working at JCPenney and I'm bleeding through my shirt because I'm not supposed to be on my feet. I'm bleeding through my shirt and my manager goes, hey, there's some blood on your shirt. Go take care of that. And by this time, I'm 24 years old and I get my surgery done. And through that, thankfully, I regained my mobility. But the pain has never gone away. I still, to this very day, I'm 36 years old. I have pain every single day. Every single day of my life for the past 15 years has been in pain. Fast forward 3 years, obviously I quit that job and I have a new job as a graphic designer for a much bigger company, and my injury is flaring up. I'm having trouble sitting at my desk, so I need to take some time off work. I wanted to apply for short-term disability. I went back to that surgeon, right? And I brought the form with me that my company was 100% okay with this. They're like, yeah, we can see you're hurting. Go get this form signed by your surgeon. I take this form to my surgeon and he looks at me and he's like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you're still having pain. We did the surgery. You should be completely fine. You're young. You're skinny. There's no way you're having this pain. And I was literally speechless. I was like, listen, my company has already approved this. All I need is for you to fill out this paperwork that says I have a serious medical condition. I don't need anything else from you. As soon as he gave me the paper with his signature, I stormed to the front office and I told them to give me every single medical record they have of me, and I never fucking want to see this doctor ever again in my life. I've spent half my fucking life in pain. You don't know what that does to a person. Like, I want to go out, I want to explore the fucking world. I want to see everything that there is to offer, and some days I wake up, I can't fucking walk. And why do I have to live my life like this? It's the worst feeling to try to explain to somebody how much pain you're in and they completely fucking dismiss you. 15 years, bro. You don't know what that's like. I was a child. I was a baby. My entire life has been ruined because I fucking had the misfortune of being in this fucking country that doesn't give a shit about its fucking citizens. Even as I'm sitting in my car right now talking to you guys, I'm in pain. And I've accepted I'm never going to wake up and jump out of bed and be totally okay and be ready to seize the day and be excited for what the day brings, because I'm always going to have this pain. If we had universal healthcare like most developed nations of this world, I would not have to live my life like this. From the moment I experienced the first sting of pain, I could have gone straight to the doctor and be like, hey, there's something wrong. We could have done the tests. We could have done all of the tests that I needed. If I had the proper care when I first sustained this injury, I would have never needed surgery. I would have gone straight into physical therapy. They would have helped me manage my pain, and I would never, ever be in this position. My entire life was ruined at the age of 21 because of the fucking healthcare system in this country, and my story's not unique. I'm not unique. This happens to millions of people every fucking day, every year, and our masters don't give a fuck. The healthcare system in this country is made for profit. It is not about caring about the health of the citizens. It's about squeezing every drop of money every dime that a person has.
American infrastructure is in a tragic state right now, and the destruction left in the wake of Hurricane Helene is a horrifying reminder of that. My heart goes out to everyone who suffered because of this, and honestly, I hold it very near and dear to my heart because I was born in 2004 in New Orleans. So do that math. Because then for Katrina, that was an infrastructure problem too. It wasn't that the storm was just so horrific. It was that there wasn't proper infrastructure in place, and people knew that. Officials knew that and did not have it repaired. There was knowledge that the levees would not hold, and they didn't do anything. And because of that, I will never know the city as my parents describe it. I will never know the city where my parents built a life together. I will never know the city as I was born. And painfully, tragically, because officials do not want to acknowledge that they could do things in order to make this not as bad, in order to help save people, because they'd have to spend money in order to do so. We are seeing a lot of the same problems repeat across the United States. The fact is that American infrastructure is crumbling. It is crumbling beneath our feet. We do not have proper funding to it. They are not spending enough money on it. They are focusing on things that do not benefit the American people as much as infrastructure would. So many things in this country were built decades and decades ago and have not been fixed, have not been repaired. Combine that with the amping up of storms due to climate change, and we are going to see disaster after disaster if something is not done. The American people do not need a military budget that's 4 times the size of everyone else's. They need roads that work. They need buildings that don't collapse. They need roads that don't get sinkholes. They need cities that will not flood. And the places that take the hardest hit is always places with marginalized people and poor people. And they make it so obvious they don't care. So we have to keep demanding that they do care, that we are paying attention and they will care, or we will not reelect them. We will not let them have power. We will not let them continue to do this. Well, of course, yes, natural disasters are going to occur always, and someone's going to lose their life, and it's tragic, but a lot of it is preventable, and we need to acknowledge that in order to prevent these things going forward. Things can be better, but we can't just passively ask for it. We have to demand it. We have to look at what the problem is and actually address it.
Why I left the US and will never go back there. The biggest reason why I will not be returning to live in the US is because it is a failed society. I don't think that Americans realize that the way that they live is not actually normal when you compare it to the rest of the world. It's not normal to not have healthcare. It's not normal to be in crippling amounts of debt from going to school or going to a hospital. It's not normal to be afraid of gun violence, for there to be a threat of gun violence in your school. It doesn't matter if it's a developed country or an underdeveloped country. It's not normal to only have 2 choices when it comes to politics and who runs your country. It's not normal to have a 79% literacy rate and half the country cannot read above a 5th grade level. My family and I immigrated to the United States when I was 5 years old. And in that time, my mom worked herself to the bone. We barely saw our mother because she was always at work. She never had time for herself. She's barely gone on vacation. Her life has literally centered around work for the last 25 years. And so my mom essentially sacrificed her life and her happiness in order to work. And when I returned to the US after living in Europe for 3.5 years, all I was doing was working. I would wake up super early in the morning, commute for 1 hour, go to work for 8 hours, commute for another hour, and then I would have 2 hours to myself before I had to go to bed in order to do the same thing in the morning again. All for 2 weeks of vacation time. And I want you guys to know that this is not normal. In some countries, the minimum that an employee will get off of work is 6 weeks. In some countries, women get years off to spend with their newborn child. After my mom gave birth to my brother, she was back at work after 2 weeks. When I was going to school in the US, I constantly had anxiety that our school was going to be shot up. And this is not normal. I want you guys to understand it, because when I was talking to my friends who also went to school in the US, they said the exact same thing, that they always had anxiety that someone would come into the school and shoot it up. And so I essentially chose peace when I decided to leave the US. I do not feel any sort of allegiance to this country because the US does not have allegiance to me as a Black woman. Black women are overwhelmingly more prone to experiencing poverty than any other ethnic group in the United States. Black women are also more likely to die in childbirth in the United States. It has one of the highest maternal mortality rates. And so why should I choose to work myself to the bone for decades to get nothing in return, to not even be able to retire comfortably for a country that doesn't care about me?
You shouldn't fight to go to school. In my country, our education is subsidized, especially federal universities. Universities being run by the government is highly subsidized. So most of us went to the university paying negligible amount compared to this place. I need to understand capitalism. Like, there has to be something that capitalism is feeding off its people. Like, you are literally paying into the system, but you have nothing to show for. You can't even give people that had sacrificed their lives for your country something better. Like the veterans, we've seen a lot of their videos peddling on social media where they do not even have nothing. They end up being homeless. This is not right at all for a country that has two-thirds of the world's wealthiest people. It shouldn't be happening in all forms, shapes, and sizes. It shouldn't. Period. I've been to some of the beautiful places, yeah, but most of the places is looking like, you know, average third world country. With this number of billionaires, I would think Americans or the billionaires or the government would help the people, you know. And to think that I love America and I love the American people, very welcoming, sweet, and all of that, right? Some of them are truly, truly kind, but I feel the American people should be given what is due to them. They've been putting into the system. Now it's time for them to reap what they've sown. Seriously, guys, what do you think? That's why you have a lot of Americans leaving America, traveling to other countries because they want better outside the shores of America. You know, so I have serious, even the much that they've put into the system, people are trying to take it away. That you voted for are trying to take it away. Guys, what do you think? Please drop your thoughts and comments in the comment section, but don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, like, share this video, and hit on the notification bell in order not to miss any of my videos. Have a blessed day.